Hey guys, Mike here with Red Bull Quants, and I want to do a super quick micro update on the crypto situation, particularly what's going on with Bitcoin. And the reason why I'm doing it is actually because the formation I'm seeing is sort of what I anticipated when we're pushing up in the first place. And of course, it's always easy to draw lines on a chart. What's much harder to do is to draw them ahead of time. And, let me pull this here. I hope you can see this. This is in a different window. And this is an update. And this is me right here. I'm doing an update right there on, I think that was the 29th. That was it was February 7th. Okay. So it was nearly 2 weeks ago. And today's Friday. Yeah. In 2 days, it's going to be 2 weeks. And I was looking at the formation back when, and I knew right away it's not going to be as easy. So this is the end of it, the tail end of the whole mastermind that we had, and I wanted to kind of wrap things up that day with kind of the final word on what's going on with the crypto market as a whole, and again specifically with Bitcoin, because this looked well. Let me just play it, and then I explain why and what, and I think it'll make a lot of sense to you.
In comparison with what has happened over the last few weeks,
but
we haven't gotten confirmation yet. Once we have price confirmation, then we have something that might also lead more dip buyers in, and then we're probably going to get another correction just to freak everyone out. So potentially what we can see is something like prepare yourself for something potentially like this, and then I really wish you could just keep drawing. I don't know. There's probably a trick to this, right? So this is a very good scenario here, where we're doing. And then, if we're lucky enough. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. See that? That's kind of like, that would be a very typical scenario, something like this. All right? Okay.
All right. So
that's it for me. If you guys don't have any...
That was the end of my presentation then. And basically that's how I left it. And then the week after I saw the market pop up a little more, and then now what we of course, let me remove this back down, and this is where we are right now. And okay, we've done almost exactly what I anticipated, kind of this zigzag down, and this is very typical market action. And again, I'm not one of the guys that says, hey, I have a crystal ball, or I call bottoms or tops, because it's absolutely foolish. And in my time I've learned that it's not just a great way of discrediting yourself or making a fool out of yourself, but also it's a great way to blow up your account, which is much more relevant, right, for us as traders. And especially if you in the public eye like I am, and everything I do and say, it's posted online, and I'm pretty transparent about everything. So I always choose my words very wisely, and at the same time try to avoid weasel words like possibly could. I always make sure I say exactly what I believe has the highest probability scenario, and if I don't know, I try to just convey that. It's like, this is a very fluid situation. It's very hard to make a directional bet here. Now, just in terms of price action, okay, and I think it's very important to kind of read these things. To say that I've looked at hundreds of these charts would be a vast understatement in my life. I've been trading since 1999, and of course crypto in the last few years as well, but I've looked at so many charts, stocks, futures, forex, bonds. You call it, I've traded it. You name it, I've traded it. And I've seen these formations all the time, and especially when it comes to like high volatility symbols, high volatility markets, like which by all intents and purposes, Bitcoin is one of them. Although Bitcoin is much more gentle than what you would see in some of the altcoins, right? But when I see something like this, right, you just have to always think in terms of psychology. And so you have to kind of work yourself backward a bit when you look at this chart and you see, okay, what was the psychology at that point? What were people thinking? And you can really learn a lot from that, just without any indicators, right? So, for instance, right here, and that was back when January 21st, so not too long ago, a little bit, almost a month ago, we had this situation where we had this spike low in place here, and then it kind of pops higher here, tries to kind of uses as an excuse to paint the floor. Of course, it didn't work out. It immediately fell back down. Very weak price action, by the way. So that was already very iffy. And then the moment of recognition was really here, right? We have a support zone here, sort of, right? 1, 2, but previously used to be resistance, then turned here into support, sort of support, didn't go all the way down. I mean, this is always a range. You always understand drawing lines is just a guide for us. Right? There's so much going on in terms of price action, in terms of, well, on the stock side, it would be also, negative gamma versus positive gamma, and in terms of volatility. That's a completely different story I'm going to cover for another day, which is not really happening yet on the option on the crypto side yet, but we're getting there. Which has a big influence on how price action, kind of unfolds. But here, right, we're seeing this first floor formation fail very clearly, right? And then the second one here, which was much weaker, fail as well. And that there's always a price to be paid, and that was the price to be paid. And then here, again, another attempt. And again, at that point, I kept repeating the same thing, like a praying mill, every day. That we were painting lower lows and lower highs, and until that would breach that series, we weren't going anywhere. And that breach happened here, but look how weak it was. See? I mean, it breached it, but what I would have loved to see is a punch up and a maybe resistance here and then being drawn back down. So what we're saying right now is almost exactly, well, this could actually draw much lower, right? What I've been anticipating, like a little bit continuation higher, and it kind of runs out of steam, drops back down, and then hopefully, see that here? If we kind of extend this line, see that? Right. Find a support here, and if it bounces here and then pops up higher, and once we're breaching this point right here, okay, which would be, let's see here, around 45,008. Let's call it 46,000, okay? Just to kind of like draw, we got a nice round number. So the new inflection point for us is really 46,000 on Bitcoin USD. And down here, this is a very important point actually, see that? Because it does serve as support. Oh, I don't know what I just did. I don't know. I'm trying to select this line. Never mind, not working. Or is it working? It stops highlighting. Oh yeah, it does. Okay. Not sure what it does down here. So see that? And it's counter testing here. And if it finds the floor, this would be extremely positive. And bullish confirmation would then happen at 46,000. So that's exactly where we are. So we're producing more context, which is positive, on the bullish side. So how about the bearish scenario? Let's say if you're still thinking, okay, this is just like a last hurrah before it falls into the abyss. It's always a possibility, I mean, you can never rule that out. So let's explore that a little bit further. Let's say it would fall to about here. I think where it really gets serious is around here. See, there's a little spike low here at 36,200. It's called 36,300, plus minus. And if it drops to that, the last hurdle is really here. And you can tell if we zoom out a little bit here, there is not much here. I mean, there's all this, which is ambiguous. There's no real clear price cluster. So it's like this big cluster where we probably would see quite a bit of volatility if it came back down here. Well, we've got quite a bit to go for this to happen. So the positive thing, the positive aspects of the current situation is that we do have a lot of context here, which has helped us in the past. See, it bounced here. So this here adds to this in terms of previous price context. What does that mean, price context? Well, it's excuses for dip buyers to find support levels and get in, get positioned there. So, and this is kind of what's happening. Right? So far, what works in our favor is this kind of retracement, the small one we're seeing here, looks fairly weak. That is really the biggest candle here. This one, when it kind of dropped hard. So it's kind of make or break time. It's more kind of make time. Break time isn't really like, if it drops a bit lower, we could still see another few weeks or even a month or two of screwing around like into early spring. Don't like to see that, but gotta have to roll with the punches, as they say. But if we get in this situation that I've kind of outlined, which is admittedly probably the most bullish scenario, I never expected it to continue to straight up. It was just not in the cards for me, as you've seen, right? And that's it. So I don't want to make this too long. It's been already 10 minutes. I think I made myself clear in terms of the thresholds where we are. The probabilities right now are, I'd say, I gotta like draw a line here, right? I'd say it's 60% that it continues higher. However, if it drops from here, if it continues lower and goes into more, shifts more into the bearish scenario, then I think the move is going to be quicker. It's going to start losing, it's basically going to start losing ground very quickly and slip lower. Because this is really a lot of people looking at this right now. Like, I'm not liking this. We were just at 45,000. Things were looking good. And a lot of people are going to lose their nerve, especially if they were chasing some of this up here, which might have happened. If you're inexperienced, you might have chased this up. So, by the way, it's never really wrong to follow a trending long market, right? Like that's what trend trading is all about. But this situation is different. So it's something we can cover another day. So when I say that inexperienced people would chase this higher, well, because you need to differentiate the situation. It's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong about buying a strong market. Okay, but again, a topic for another day. All right. So that's all I got. Let's see how this plays out. And if we're lucky, most bullish scenario is really great. I mean, if you want to play it conservative, I think that's maybe a good takeaway for you. If you're watching this, you're thinking, maybe I want to, drop it back into crypto. I didn't really have the wherewithal or the cojones to buy down here, somewhere here. I mean, nobody bought here, most likely. I mean, you would have had to be really insane. So, you didn't have to, you didn't tell me to buy down here. I bought a little bit down here, but not much. I mean, I'm observing the price action like everyone else, but this is actually a very conservative and very good spot to buy at around 40. Yeah, I'd call it just 46,000, 45,900 plus minus. If it gets back up to here, it'll just take off. So it needs to work its way back up here. So this is kind of a crucial point from a bullish perspective. If we fail it, it doesn't mean the game is lost at all. It's just going to take much, much longer. Yeah. And that's it. All right. Talk to you guys another day, and happy trading. Keep it frosty. Cheers.